This is Ibram with the Watson Gaming Forum. First step is to determine the desired location of your TV and then use the provided template to drill 6 holes in your wall studs. This is quite easily accomplished with a tape measure, piece of tape, a stud finder, and a drill with drill bit. Please note that due to the weight of the mount and your TV, the SA750 must be installed on studs. You simply cannot mount it into sheetrock with drywall anchors. Here we see the plate installed with 6 lag screws. Note that my stud placement put the lag screws on the very inside of the mounting slots. The distance between the lag screws is 14.5 inches, nowhere near the 16-inch centers of proper stud placement. The slots on the mounting a bracket allow for stud placement between 14.5 and 17.5 inches. Had the mounting plate only offered holes for the screws, I would never have been able to complete the installation. And here is where I ran into my one snag. The mount requires that the arm be attached prior to installing the plate on the wall. This is simply not feasible as a one-man operation for the 35-pound wall mount. The arm attaches onto the wall plate by way of 2 bolts and 2 nuts, with the nuts being behind the plate. There is no way to insert the nuts into the slot on the plate with the plate bolted to the wall. You can get around this by placing the nuts into the horizontal slot and temporarily threading the bolts onto the nuts. This will hold the nuts in place while you mount the plate to the wall. You can see the bolts temporarily installed here in this picture. Once the plate is against the wall and the nuts are trapped in the slot, the bolts can be removed. From here, the arm gets set in place, catching on a groove along the top of the plate and a groove along the bottom of the plate. With the arm set in place, it is secured by the 2 bolts. Here we see the 200mm mounting plate, the receiver end of the arm, and a securing bracket. The plate has hole patterns for 100mm square, 200mm square, and 100mm by 200mm rectangle. The round disc portion of the plate slots into the receiving end of the arm and is secured in place with a bracket and 2 small bolts. Here we see the universal adapter installed on the mounting plate. 2 additional brackets attached to the front. These additional brackets are able to slide laterally, giving the mount its universal nature. This adjustability allows the bracket to fit 200mm by 400mm patterns, 400mm square patterns, in addition to non-standard hole patterns near 400mm square size. Here we see the mounting plate with adapter installed on the TV with 4 screws, and here we can see plastic plates installed to cover the installation screws and provide a cleaner installation. Finally, here's the TV installed on the arm and secured in place. Here's a wider shot of the TV installed on the mount. The mount allows for about 10 inches of lateral adjustment between the 2 installation studs. This will allow for greater flexibility during planning and installation. While I had hoped the arm could be adjusted laterally on the fly, the TV does need to be removed to make any adjustments. And here's one final shot with all of the cables installed running through the wire guides. We have power, Ethernet, and 4 HDMI cables connected. The articulating arm is divided into 2 segments, each 1 foot long. The 3 joints allow for numerous options in positioning your TV with a maximum extension of 2 feet in any direction. I normally keep the TV in the position as shown here, angled in towards the center of my desk in sitting position. I can also easily pivot the TV out so that it is viewable from the chairs in my office. Beyond simply rotating, I can extend the arm so that the TV is closer to that seating position. I often do this when I'm playing either my Xbox 360 or PS3 or watching a Blu-ray on my PS3. I really like the Peerless SA750. It offers lots of options for installation and configuration, and the bundled universal adapter allows for larger TVs with large VESA patterns to be wall mounted. It's difficult to review a wall mount. It's not something that gets a lot of, quote, use. As long as it's holding up your displays, it's basically doing its job. The SA750 is at the high end of the Perrless line and is quite expensive. Lucky for me, it was provided for review by one of our sponsors, online retailer Mounted Concepts. However, if you don't need the lateral movement or a VESA pattern larger than 200mm, there are several less expensive options that retain the Peerless build quality and ease of use. With the upcoming 21:9 ultra-wide TVs coming out, like the Vizio Cinema Wide, I am glad to have the Peerless SA750, and I'm confident it will meet my needs for years to come.